Hello, and welcome to the second video on the obscure artifacts of Tamriel. Today, we're going to be taking a look at bits of lore from the Daggerfall era of the Elder Scrolls. Most of the more contemporary lore of the Elder Scrolls was thought of around the time of Daggerfall's development, so we should see a few more things in line with the more modern titles. So, let's get started. I'm sure you've heard of the Black Books, but have you heard of the Book of the Time? In a few cutscenes of Daggerfall, a book is shown that flips through several images, most notably at the beginning of the game, upon death, and at the very end of the game, revealing which of the multiple endings you've obtained. Once the agent returns from the Mantellan Crux, Nulfaga, the powerful mystic who sent you there, has this to say. Not so fast. Don't you want to see the results of your handiwork? Look now into the Book of the Time. Read upon its pages the history of what shall pass within the next few days. Read fate, as it shall be recorded upon the Elder Scrolls. Nulfaga is apparently in possession of a book that has the power to see into the future, and that, according to her, records fate as the Elder Scrolls do. Peering into the future isn't an uncommon phenomenon in the Elder Scrolls, as scrying, prophets, and individuals known to have visions exist all throughout the lore. But this book gives a definitive view into how events after each ending will proceed, predicting the future with precise accuracy. How the book works or how far into the future it could see is completely unknown, but the ability to definitively see into the future is incredibly powerful, especially in a place like Tamriel. Regardless, this is the only appearance of the Book of the Time, and it's never mentioned ever again. But it's interesting to consider how one of the most obscure Elder Scrolls artifacts could genuinely be considered one of the most powerful. There's one more book I'd like to mention, the Daggerfall Chronicles. Now this is some obscure stuff. The Daggerfall Chronicles is the name of the official Daggerfall strategy guide, though it also technically exists within the lore. A small folded up sheet of paper came with most boxed editions of Daggerfall, advertising the game manual along with the guide to Privateer's Hold, the game's starting dungeon, on the back. Written inside was the following passage. Nestled in the Dragontail Mountains, protected from trespassers by a magic barrier, lies the Cinerisfield Citadel. Ruled with an iron hand by Nesmith, the Cinerists are Tamriel's troubadours, bards, and minstrels, whose notes and observations have been compiled into 1,000 impressive volumes. In the year 370 of the Third Era, Nesmith created a sect of imperial scribes who were charted with recording all historical events, beginning with the defeat of Jagar Tharn. Smuggled out by an anonymous renegade guild member, the book, now known as the Daggerfall Chronicles, was hidden in a shrine of the Oracle. The Daggerfall Chronicles appeared to be a lost account of the detailed history of Tamriel, written by a group known as the Cinerist Guild. The actual game guide has a few small sections related to history, such as a small timeline, and briefly goes over a few of the events leading up to the game, though it can be assumed that the actual book would be much more detailed. Such a book could give insight into a lot of the historical mysteries that surround Tamriel, though what became of the book is unknown. Up next, we have Fearstruck. There's a good chance you've never heard of this Stagic artifact. It's only ever mentioned in a book that appears only in Daggerfall titled The Story of Lyrisius. It's an interesting and short read if you want to go check it out, and there are tons of really interesting bits of information spread throughout, but a deeper analysis is best saved for another video. Basically, it tells the tale of a hero from the First Era known as Lyrisius, who fought against the Akaviri during their invasion of Tamriel. He slew many of them, but was forced to flee after being overwhelmed. Armed with an enchanted spear and Fearstruck, a shield gifted to him by Boethia, he encountered a powerful dragon. The dragon's mighty flames melted Fearstruck, completely destroying it. Lyrisius then tricked the dragon by pretending to surrender before climbing atop it and sticking his dagger into its wing. He then commanded it to fly and destroy any remnants of the Akaviri army. We don't know what enchantment Fearstruck provided its user, though we can probably eliminate fire resistance as a guess. A scholar's note at the end of the text says the following. If this legend has a basis in fact, the artifact, Fearstruck, was utterly destroyed. No other reference to it has ever been found. Technically, Fearstruck does reappear in ESO, though only a replica of it that functions as a cosmetic item that doesn't actually do anything on its own. To end this video off, I'll mention one last artifact, the Horn of Summoning. The Horn of Summoning is an artifact said to have been used by King Edward of Daggerfall and King Morrowind of Ebonheart during the First Era in order to drive the invading Nords out of High Rock. In the book series, The Real Baron Zaya, we learn of the life of Queen Baron Zaya, and in the last few volumes, her role in the Imperial Simulacrum. During her time in Mournhold, she met a charming man known as Nightingale, said to be Jagar Thorn in disguise, who persuaded her to lead him through the subterranean caverns of Mournhold to find the Horn of Summoning, which was said to be buried in a shrine dedicated to the deity Effin. Buried within was not the Horn of Summoning, but instead the Staff of Chaos. Nightingale fled with the staff, leading to the events of Arena. Baron Zaya's husband at the time, Symmachus, the Dunmer general of Tiber Septim's army, later said that Tiber Septim himself took the Horn of Summoning and entrusted the Staff of Chaos to him for safekeeping. Tharn had somehow known that the Staff of Chaos was there, not the Horn of Summoning, and for this, Symmachus seemed surprisingly relieved. He has these lines to say: "The staff is not a weapon that would have seen him clear, unlike the horn. Praise the gods, at least he does not have that." As well as, "Aye, now the Nightingale can use the staff to sow seeds of strife and dissension wherever he goes, if he wishes. Yet that alone will not gain him power. That lies with the horn and the ability to use it." He seems to imply that the power of the Horn of Summoning surpasses even that of the Staff of Chaos. Let's also bear in mind that Tiber Septim claimed the horn for himself, so there's clearly great value in possessing the item. So, what does the horn do? We have absolutely no idea. These are literally the only bits of information we have on it. There are a couple of theories out there, but nothing definitive. All we really know is that it's supposedly quite powerful. What became of the horn, we also don't know. It's just another one of the many mysteries that exists within the world of the Elder Scrolls.